the incident, correct?
That is correct. Uthi yebo kunjalo ngikushilo lokho ukuthi ngibone angiphuze ama-can out le can lesithathu ke lalivuliwe kodwa ke belingaphelele usho ukuthi ke azange ngiphuze ngaliceda.
Now, per your testimony yesterday, you testified that two intruders entered the house, and the first one with dreadlocks, shorter, demanded phones from the people in the house, correct?
Usho kanjalo ukuthi kwangena ke abangenile abawu2 khona lapha endlini oyama intruder awu2 kanti lona ke umfishanyana owayinama dreadlocks wase ke ufuna ama cell phone.
Yebo kunjani?
That is correct. Yes.
And what were the exact words that were uttered by that person, the first suspect with the firearm?
Lo mlisa ke okanye lo msola wokuqala wakhuluma wathini lawo mazwi awasebenzisa makakhuluma lo bephethe isibhamu wakhuluma wathini
akakhulumanga into eningi wafuna amafoni nemali nje.
He didn't say much. He only demanded the cell phones and money. That's it.
Yeah, but understand, what I'm asking you is the exact words that he said, if you recall.
Yabona ke engithanda ukuzwa kuwe ukuthi wasebenzisa amazwi futhi makakhuluma wathini ilokho engikufunayo kuwe.
Noma ngeke ngiwasho exactly amagama awasho nje benjalo but engwakhumbulayo ukuthi wafuna amafoni nemali. Ngibona ikukhumbulayo lokho.
Even though I cannot recall the exact wording, however, what I remember is the fact that he demanded the cell phones and money. That I can remember.
In what language did he demand cell phones and money?
Wayesebenzisa lokulwimi njengoba efuna ama cell phones nemali.
Wayesebenzisa ulimi lesiZulu.
isiZulu.
And what was his demeanor when he made that demand for cell phones and money?
Ubebuke kanjani ke makenza ke lezo ephoqa ke futhi lezo zinto.
Angiunderstand umuze ebuka kanjani mhlambe kanjani
mawumbheka nje ube njani ubona ini kuyena beyiphethe kanjani ngoba efuna i-cellphone nemali ama cellphone nemali
sima ngikusona ngangenako ukuthi ngimbheke umuntu ezifu ngibukele movie relaxing because uqala novalo phakathi now thuka yonke leyo nto so angeke ngibuke exactly emehlweni noma isikhathi eside.
My observation would not be an observation of a person that would be, relaxed as though they are watching a movie. Remember, I also was shocked or was frightened. So my reaction to that type of a scene wouldn't have been a quite relaxed observation.
Now, did you see a firearm that night?
Was born in was born.
The boy is pet.
Yes, he was in possession of that firearm.
And how did that suspect with the firearm hold that firearm as he came in towards the hallway in the house?
Makangena ke endlini ephethe isibhamu kanjalo obesiphethe kanjani ngakwazi ukusibonisa.
Why is putting his hand right?
He had the firearm, or he held the firearm with his right hand.
Yes, but what I want to know, was it pointed at the people in the house with his hand outstretched in front, or was it holding it down as he entered the house?
Yeah, why is putting but not like
It was wielded in that fashion, in other words, in a pointing form, even though he wasn't pointing at any person in particular, but it was in a pointing form. And I was able to see the barrel of that firearm. As I was positioned like that, when I looked at the firearm, I could then have access to the barrel of the firearm as it was wielded in that fashion.
Now, taking from what you say that it wasn't pointed at a specific person, because remember, according to the photos that we've seen, there were two couches with 3 people on this side, 3 people on this side, and Kelly on the other side towards the passage. Did he move it around to show his dominance of the people in the house, or was it just in a fixed position but not particularly
Ngoba
to any person?
besizosho-ke ukuthi kwakhona ama-couch amabili 3 bihleli ngapha 3 hleli ngapha ukheli ubehleli ukuya khona lapha ne-passage mhlambe-ke ubeloko esikhomba kanjalo esihambisa ukubonisa-ke ukuthi usebenzisa-ke igunya lakhe phezu kwawo wonke umuntu obekhona ngalapho okanye ukuba namandla phezu kwawo wonke umuntu obekhona ngalapha endlini wayeloko esihambisa kanjalo leso sibhamu noma kanjalo.
Ukwenza kwalento akwenzekanga isikhathi eside, so wonke kube nalento ukuthi ucheck yini ukuthi wenzani because ngiyabe sengisho ukuthi bakunovalo phakathi.
Now this
Mhlawumbe ngasingasusila amehlo kena ngizama ukukhipha into ngazama ukukhipha ifoni mini ephakethini.
Now, this incident actually happened at the shortest time I can remember. One would not necessarily be having an opportunity to can observe what this person was doing in detail. Remember, I've already indicated that I personally was under shock as well, and that it could have been that I also took out my cell phone from within the pocket at that time.
Now, during that stage, did the gunman cock or wreck the firearm?
Ngaleso sikhathi was isibhamu lo muntu ophethe isibhamu ngaleso sikhathi.
Hayi cha wafika nje sesikhomba nje angasi.
No, he didn't cock the firearm. He just barged in there with the firearm wielded out.
Now, just to go back on something that you just mentioned before about the firearm, which position or from which perspective did you see the firearm, the front or the side of the firearm?
Otege ubone ipingxenye yesibhamu.
Ingqoqo la ngaphambili.
The barrel, the front side of the barrel of the firearm.
So you were literally staring down the barrel of a gun. What color was the firearm, if you recall?
Umbala obunjani waleso sibhamu uma ngabe uyakhumbula?
Ngathi nje simnyamanyana ukugugile ugrasti ukugile nje.
It was a blackish, worn out, kind of rusty.
And just by using the dimensions with your hands, can you tell the length of that firearm?
Usebenzisa izandla zakho ungakwazi ukuthi mhlambe usidebele nje umfanekiso ukuthi sasisikhulu kangakanani ubude baso leso sibhamu.
Mhlawumbe sasisingakanyana nje.
That could have been the estimated length of the firearm. I went a 40 foot.
Mhlawumbe sasisingakanyana. Sasingasikhulu kakhulu singaside.
More about 14 centimeters, about 14 centimeters. 20.
And then also, could you tell if the firearm had a wheel on the side, something that looked like a wheel or a rotating object on the side?
Ubukwazi ubona mhlambe leso sibhamu sasine into engathi i-wheel okanye isonto nyana nje lapho kuso leso sibhamu. Into engathi iyajikeleza nje.
Ngabona ngathi isona esinesona impela mangisibuka but anjona ngisho ngisibukanga isikhathi eside nami.
I looked at it and like I have already said that I didn't take a lot of time to can observe that particular firearm, but it looked to me as though it was a firearm that had a wheel on it.
Now, prior to the events of the 26th of October 2014, had you seen the person that was holding the firearm in the house that night?
And baleso sikhathi 26 October 2014 lo mlisa lo muntu obephethe isibhamu ngaleso sikhathi uke wambona phambilini ubuke wambona
Ngeke ngambona.
shothi ke ngisho isigameko senzeke nge-26
Yes.
phambi kwe-26 ubuke wambona nanoma ikuphi lo mlisa obephethe isibhamu.
Cha bangaze ngimbone.
I've never seen him before.
And after the incident of the 26th of August 2014, October 2014, I'm sorry, did you see that person again? Have you ever seen him since?
Emva kwesigameko sange-26 October 2014 uphinde wambona futhi.
Cha bangaze ngimbone.
I've never seen him.
Now, would I be correct to say that the people that entered the house that night, the two suspects, were complete strangers to you?
Ngakusho ke ukuthi laba abangena ngalobo busuku endlini abantu nje ubungabazi uqobo nje.
Yeah, abantu engabazi.
Yes, those were unknown people to me.
Now, you testified, and if I understood your testimony correctly, is that you only saw the second suspect because you didn't immediately stand up when the rest of the people stood up to confront the suspects. So you only saw the second suspect later, correct?
Ngabe kunjalo ukuthi wena uye wambona emva kwesikhashana ngoba phela ngenkathi wonke umuntu esukume yakubo eyabuye lo umsola wesibini wena zange kube nabo ngaleso sikhathi wase ke umbona emva kwesikhashana ke ngoba zange usuku nabanye kulokho kusho
indlela aqhamuka ngayo wemala phambi ngomnyango yena umuntu oqala umbonayo so lo munye wayengakaveli ngaleso sikhathi.
The manner in which he appeared in the scene and he stood by the door there, he was the very first person that one could see. And uthi lo munye yena wenzani?
Wayengakaveli ngaleso sikhathi esikhomba sasingakambona. I don't think
at the time that we were pointed with the firearm from this one who was in possession of the firearm, the other one had not appeared as yet on our side.
Okay. When did you see the second suspect for the first time then that night in the house?
Lona ke wesibili wambona nini khona lapha endlini. Ukuthi makwenzakala ini. Yeah.
Angithi lo uqala mayefika emala esikhomba efuna abafundi imali. Basukuma nomfana lo mphusha.
Now, isn't it so that the first one that came and pointed us with a firearm and he demanded the cell phones and the money, and there was this young man that stood up and pushed or thrust at him. Now, as he thrust at him, everyone else stood up because he thrust at him and then exited running out of the house. And then there was a stage where everybody then stood up.
Now,
at that stage where Kelly went and ran into the other bedroom that is just on the right, this is when, that was at that stage where I realized that there is now a second person or there is another person.
Okay, Mr. Baloyi asked you yesterday, rather than saying this boy, this guy, mention people by name so that the record is clear as to who
you're talking
about.
Yeah,
okay.
I understand.
So when you say that this guy pushed this one, we are referring to Longwe Twala pushing the first suspect.
Maukulma uthi lo guy lo pusha lo ubukulma Longwe Twala pusha lona umso.
Yeah, ngikhuluma ngayo.
Yes, I was referring to Longwe Twala.
Now, this second suspect, what did he do when you saw him, at the time you saw him?
Lona wesibini uma umbona bekenzani?
Ngicabanga ukuthi bezama ukuyongena la ebedroom lethwele pushana ngasenzo bezomlekisa ngasesicabheni sekhishi.
I think he wanted to go into the bedroom, and it was at that stage that Senzo struggled together with him or wrestled together with him, and he pushed him and pinned him against the door.
Okay. Zandile Khumalo testified on that aspect in his court to say the second intruder then chased Kelly to the bedroom that is opposite the kitchen, directly opposite the kitchen when he entered the house. Did you see that happening?
Zandile Khumalo ukushilo lokho ukuthi lo wesibini owangena lapha endlini waseke ugijimisa lona uKelly waye gijimela ngakulela kamero elalibhekene nekhishi wena ke uye wakwazi ukuthi ubone lokho?
Yebo ngakubona.
Yes, I witnessed that.
But then I'm confused because you say Senzo then I think went to that person before Clarify that for me, Senzo and the second intruder, please.
Akuzame-ke ukuyicacisa-ke ngoba manje usukhuluma ngokuthi uSenzo wase-ke uyambamba uyampusha ngapha-ke ugijimisa uKelly lona awuzame ukuyicacisa ukuthi ukucala.
Angithi uSenzo the time kufika lokuqala elwa nalokuqala bebambe shuvulana lokuqala ne. So ila ngibone khona ke lo kathi balekele engene la uKelly ekamereni eseza ke lo wesibili suthi angazi ukuthi wayiza kanjani nami ngoba uSenzo wayembambe nje isandla lesi ofisho ikonta ayiphethe esandleni ngoba emphushela udongeni la ngase ngithi ngizama ukubaleka khona ke nango sempushelela udongeni la ngafika ngashaya khona la.
Isn't it so that there was a time that Senzo was also wrestling with his first one, and as he was busy wrestling with his first one, here is Kelly now running into the bedroom. At that stage, this is when I see the other one now appearing, and then it was Senzo now wrestling together with this one. Moti uSenzo wa wrestling naye wayo bego shongwe ilo wesibili. Now he grabbed the second one and wrestled with him and pushed him against the wall.
So not I understand it. It's the confusion. Senzo, let's start it afresh. Senzo initially struggles and pushes and fights with the first suspect.
Ngabe kunjalo ake sithathe singajahi. uSenzo okokuqala nakho lwisana nalowo wokuqala umsolo wokuqala kube njalo.
Yes,
uthi bayabamba lapho yena.
Wayengekho yedwa kodwa futhi
khona lapho kulowo wokuqala.
uZandi, yes, kwakhona uZandi noma ngazani.
Yes, even though he was not alone there on that first struggle, because Zandi was there and Zandi's mother was also there.
Then ila khona ke abamba lo angazi mhlambe lo wayeza kuye or something lo mbamba lo suspect lo wesibili. No.
Right there, that is when he grabbed the second suspect. I don't know how did it come about, but he grabbed the second suspect.
Bampushela udongeni and then bampushela ngasesicabheni la endlini kwesicabha lesasekitchen.
Pushed him close to the door, just next to the kitchen door there.
And you mentioned, I think, just now that the second suspect, you say he had possibly something in his head.
Usho into enjalo ngazothi uthe lo wesibili kwakungathi khona into abayiphethe esandleni sakhe.
Yebo ngisho njalo impela.
Yes, indeed so. That is what I said.
Okay. And did you observe what that something was?
Uye wakwazi ukubona yini ukuthi kuyini lokho ebephethe?
No, angibonanga but ngabona uSenzo ngendlela ambambe ngayo lesandla saka right because indlela ambambe ngayo ngesandla soku2.
No, I did not really observe what he was in possession of. I only observed the manner in which Senzo had grabbed him, grabbed his right arm, and he used his two hands to hold on to that right arm of the suspect.
But from your vantage point, did you see the second intruder in possession of any weapon?
When uqhamuka labo ukhona ubukwazi ukumbona lona umsolo wesibili ephethe isikhali kuye nanoma esenjani.
Njengoba ngishilo ukuthi bengeke ngiphonse amehlo ami kuyona yonke into eyenzakala endlini because nabe bengarelaxile.
Now, as I've already pointed out that I couldn't or I wouldn't be in the position to can observe everything that was happening in the house. Because even myself, I was in a frightened state.
Okay, just to clarify it, and with respect to Thokozisi Twala's testimony on that aspect, he testified that the second intruder was in possession of a knife. Did you see a knife?
Ake sibuye ke kulobufakazi bukaMthokozisi. uMthokozisi yena ke uthi ubone lo umsolo wesibili okanye lo umngeneleli wesibili ephethe umese kuyena. Uke wawubona lo mese wena?
Kwakubhala uMthokozisi kusho ukuthi usho into ayibona yena. Mina angizange ngibe nasikhathi sokubona nje ngendlela ngoba ngangithi ngijonge uSenzo bambe nalo ngangifuna ukuphuma kahle kahle umthetho wami endlini.
Now,
ethwele ngamakhona uSenzo wayipresele nalo
Now,
So angizange ubone mina.
now I did not observe the knife, as I've already indicated that at the time that Senzo was busy wrestling with this man, I also stood there as well and became a part of that. And whatever it is that is contained within Thokoz's statement, that is what he witnessed himself that has been reduced into writing. But I personally didn't see that.
And the second suspect, I'm not sure whether I've asked you this, but I'll ask it anyway. Did he say something or utter any words as he entered the house or during the incident?
Lo msolo wesibini makangena endlini ngabe kukhona amaza awakhuluma
Hayi, cha,
Convertise wakhe himself. No, there isn't.
And during the incident, did the first and the second suspect communicate amongst each other?
Khona lapho kuleso sigameko ngabe lona wokuqala nowesibini babelokhu bekhulumisana.
Hayi ngibonanga lokho.
I did not observe nor witness that.
Now, yesterday, you lost me with respect to the descriptions of the two suspects that entered the house. Let's discuss first the description of the first intruder, the first suspect, the shot one with a firearm.
Izolo ngengathi ukulahleka ngekhathi wena uphana ngomfanekiso walona owokuqala iintruder yokuqala. Ake siqale ngaye ke lo wokuqala. Uthi ke wena ke uthe umuntu ebebukeka njani?
Wayemfishane enama-dread efake isigqoko efake ijacket ungathi caramel.
He was short, having dreadlocks, and he had worn a hat, and also was wearing a jacket, caramelish in color,
Amehlo nje amakhulu.
and he had widened eyes or big eyes.
Okay. And I see when you describe the dreadlocks, you keep on doing this. What are you?
Ngiyabona kusebenzisa nezandla zakho
Saying about
lokukhuluma
that.
ngama-dreadlocks, futhi ke izandla zihambela khona lana entanyeni mawuloku ukhuluma kanjalo. Usho ukuthini-ke?
Ama-dread ano size.
Yeah, the dreadlocks have got their size.
So awakhe ayingamade mutaza made kakhulu. Njengoba ngiphunda la ngathi ayigcina la.
His were not as long. When you see me, sort of signaling with my hands, I am trying to describe the length of those dreadlocks, that this is how far those dreadlocks would go, or this is up to how far they could reach.
And were you in a position with the first suspect wearing the hat to see whether or not those dreadlocks were braided dreadlocks? You know what I'm talking about? There are these styles that they do, guys, braid them towards the back or whatever braid they prefer.
Ngoba ke lo mliso befaka isigqoko ubona ama dreadlocks kuye uye wakwazi ukuqaphela yini ukuthi kwakungama dreadlocks athe ukuqhinwa nje. Uyabona kukhona nje ama dreadlocks la ukuthi umuntu avese nje athi no ithi ngeke ngenze istyle inyana ngiwaqhine ngibambe ngenzeni uke waqaphela lokho mhlawumbe ukuthi lawo ma dreadlocks apha.
Ukuvela wawo ayivela la. Because angithi ufake isigqoko so ayivela la ayingaveli ngangamboni ngangemuva nabo ayivela nje la.
Now, the visibility of those dreadlocks was starting from the temporal area going down. Look on the top of the head or the crown of the head. I couldn't see because remember that he was wearing a hat, so I couldn't see on top of the head as to how those dreadlocks look like.
Let's go on to the second suspect. By what identifying features did you notice him?
Ake size-ke kulomsolo wesibili. Impawu oze wayibona kuyena ezikwaziyo ukuthi ziphana ngomfanekiso omayelana naye kwaba eziphi impawu?
Lo wesibili ngiyangasho futhi nasekuqaleni ukuthi sometimes noma ngaba able ukuthi umuntu umuntu kodwa umuntu okwambona before uyamazi.
Now, regarding the second person, even though one could fail to draw or to finish with the features that would be drawn about that particular person, but I said that if a person happened to have been a person that you saw or encountered, you will always recognize that person.
Mr. Madala, I'm not gonna fight with you. I'm a very fair lawyer. If you don't understand the question, ask me to repeat it
Angeke ngize ngilwe nawe.
and answer a direct question directly, please.
Ngumeli nje oyilungele. Manje uma ke wena awukwazi ukuphendula umbuzo ke, cela ukuthi ke uphinde futhi lo mbuzo okanye ucacisele.
I vele azizile ukuzona. So le ngesibazi kulwa ngiunderstand.
I agree.
Azizile ukuzona.
I
We're on the
agree,
same page.
yes. We are not here to fight. Yes, I agree.
Now let's try that question again.
Yes.
I
By
respect
what
the point.
identifying features did you notice the second suspect?
Ake size lapho ke. Eziphi impawu? Ukwazile ukukhuluma ngalowo kuqala ngisho?
Yes.
Eziphi impawu ke masiza kulo wesibili? Okwazile ukuthi uyibone ukuthi cha, yabona lezi ke yizona ezingisiza ukuthi ngisho ukuthi uyelo. Bekuyini?
Ukuqala nje njengoba ngisho ukuthi uqala kwami ungena la ngambona. If wakwabona umuntu before umqondo wakho mathi usumlibele but mangombona futhi uba nalokuthi ngiyangimazi lapho lo muntu lo.
Now, the first thing that I have indicated was that as I walked into the courtroom, I was then able to see him, and I said to myself, this person I once met before, and the question could be that, where did I meet with this particular person? That's number one.
Okwesibili ngimkhumbula nangentshebe yakhe ayenzile ngaleso sikhathi. Lase ngisho umqondo wami ngiyamkhumbula nje intshebe yakhe ayenzile because ubeshiye lokho kula kuthuswana eshiye la eshiye igundile nje ikhathi iround umlomo. So eshiye lokho kulana ake kukhathile nje kanti.
I also remember him based on the beard, how his beard was actually trimmed. It was trimmed such that it has formed an O around his, his mouth, upper lip as well as the chin, so covering that area. That I saw, and as well as a bit of the hair here, just under the lower lip.
Nanokuthi wayemudeke futhi.
And further, that he was tall in physique.
Now, let's talk about the beard here beneath the lower lip. How pronounced or visible was that? How thick was that beard here?
Yabona le ntshana eyayila ngaphansi kwalolu udebe ngaphansi. Beyinjani? Inwele zakhona bezinjani? Beyibonakala kangakanani?
Lintshebe lapha la ayijwayele kuba inkulu vele. Even noma ikhulu ayijwayele kuba inkulu. Ayikazi ibe inkulu. Eziningi kwazi ukuchaza usize wakho kodwa ayibi inkulu.
Now, generally, that beard at that particular spot does not grow to be very bushy. I may not necessarily give a clearer description pertaining it, but it doesn't. It doesn't grow to be very, very thick and bushy, that one.
Now, accused number 2 instructs me that he's never had this beard here. In fact, it doesn't grow on him, and he's never had an O-shaped beard, like you say, the second suspect had. And furthermore, that he's always kept the goatee, the one that you see here in court, from as long as he can remember.
But akakaze abe nonwele oluvela khona la ngaphansi kwalolu debe olungaphansi. Kwalende olungaphansi. Futhi ke akakaze ke enze leso style se njengoba wena usho weza amadevu kanjalo. Kanti ke ube logo ebukeka ngalendlela ebukeka ngakhona. I should also indicate that the witness find it amusing right now before he can even answer.
Angimazi uqondeni ngalokho kusho ukuthi mina ngiyagula ekhanda lapho.
I don't know what is he intending with that. It means that I am insane in my mind.
Lokho akushoyo angimazi ukuthathelaphi vele ke iqala umphiko kuloko akusho angimazi ukuthathelaphi as
Well,
for wena
as-
Mr. Ramsibele umele yena la
As far
kufanele
as,
aphike lokho.
now, the hand of the accused number 2 is on my
Let me
lord.
approach. I mean, that's it, my lord. My lord, he's saying if the court is willing, you can come and have a look at him.
Which
here.
court?
If the court
Which
is,
one?
Sorry, my lord.
Which court?
This one, my lord.
Anas.
No, sorry, the witness, my lord, not the court. Sorry, if the witness can be allowed by the court to go and have a look at him that he's never had that beard that he testifies about.
He is inviting the witness to go to him.
Yes, my
angisoze ngasondela eduze kwakhe ngisho
I will
sethanda
never- I will
Yabona nje
never
kuhle lapho
go close.
seyisitha nami soze
I will never come close to him. As he's seated there, he's actually my enemy. I will never, even if he may want for me to come close to him, I won't go to him.
kunento ekufanele bayazi nabafowethu mina nginandaba nabo angibasabi futhi yabo manje basabisa vele bengibuka kambo ngathi
That's
khona
fine, that's fine,
abazoyenza
Mr.
hayi
Mandela.
hawu
There's this one thing, may I interpret this? There's this one thing that all these gentlemen here who are seated there should know about me. I don't care about them. I don't care, and I'm not even afraid of them. They're seated there looking at me like that. I don't care about them.
No, that's fine. What he was just saying is that as much as you are adamant that he had this beard, he's also adamant that he has never had it. That's the point.
Uyabona ke njengoba nawe udizelela ukuthi ube nentshatshana la. Uyasho ke naye ube ngenayo.
hayi akushoyo anginalo ngizomela kuprove but mina ngiyakusho lokukhona ngiyakwazi futhi ngakubona
Now, whatever that he says, he's got the right to can prove it. However, on my side, I know what is it that I witnessed. I know what I saw. And it is there.
Now, I put it to you that the description by which you identified accused number 2 is vague and general, and it meets all sort of thousands and thousands of men out there.
Ngibeka kuwe ke ukuthi yabona ke lo mfanekiso othulela enkantolo umayelana nomangalelo wesibini. Umfanekiso nje ongavela ufane nanoma ubani. Ngoba phela ke awuyikhethanga lo mfanekiso. Futhi ke awunazo izimpawu ezikhethile nanoma ubani ngaba yingcenye yalo mfanekiso wena ophana ngawo la enkantolo.
ya phela mina la enkantolo angizela nginanongibani ngizingalo engibonayo mina ngikhuluma ngalo engimbonayo hayi nanongibani
Now the fact of the matter is that I am not here for any other man or any other person that I see. There is a person in particular that had led me to come and testify in this court.
In fact, I put it to you that that description of a beard below the lower lip, an old-type beard around the mouth, height, and a hoodie wouldn't assist the police in locating the perpetrator. If you said to the police, go and look for this perpetrator, with those
Engikushoyo ke
three
ukuthi
descriptors.
lezo impawu ophane ngazo le ntshantshana kuyi okanye le eyayilana nalo intshebe yayenza olana emlomeni nokuthi ke ubefake ihudi ube mude angeke kwazi ukusiza amaphoyisa uma umuntu engathi ke nawu ke umfanekiso sengimnikezile hambani uyofuna lowo muntu angeke kwazi ukusiza amaphoyisa.
ya but
Ngiyavuma.
ikhona nje mina engimbonayo angikhona endlini mina engimbonayo yeka kumfana mina engimbonayo
I am available. I am available. Isn't it so that I'm the one that witnessed? I was in the house. I'm the one that saw him. So I am the one that saw him. And I'm here.
Now, before the intruders came into the house, you testified that you were watching or observing Kelly Kumalo narrating a story about different churches or whatever story she was narrating.
Usho kanjalo ukuthi angokuba ke lo mngene kangena endlini benilokungilaleleyo okanye limbuke lona uKelly loyikhuluma ke lezi zinto abeyikhuluma ezifake ngaphakathi amabandla kanjalo.
Yebo kunjalo.
Yes, it is indeed so.
Now, how far was the first suspect from you where you were seated when you first noticed him?
Ube kude kangani nawe ukusuka labo uhleli khona lo ungenele uqala mawumbona. Ukuqhathanisa nala wena buhleli ngapha. Ungasho ukuthi ngoba ngihleli la yena ube lapha yana wena ube lapha yana wena.
I think befindicate la isithombe because lesivele isithombe ngasho ukuthi ngiyabe ngihleli kuphi umsolo uqala wangena wama kuphi.
Now I think it was depicted in one of the pictures that I indicated that this is where I was seated at and this is where the intruder came and stood at.
Yeah, but the picture doesn't show measurements of distance. They only depict the sofas and the hallway.
Uyabona ke isithombe as esinikezi nje ibanga okanye ke ama distance kanjalo.
Nama ngengikwazi ukuqala ama distance. Na inkinga engaba ngizobheka ngengikwazi ukuqala ama distance.
I also cannot measure distances.
Because leyandli
That's my problem because that house is small.
Ncane.
That house is small.
Now, the first suspect gets into the house and Kelly's narrating the story. Did the first suspect do anything to Kelly before she ran to the bedroom?
Lo oqala yangena uKelly lokuyakhuluma la endlini. Ngabe khona ukuthize ke akwenza kuKelly emva ukuthi uKelly abaleka engase egumbini lokulala.
Naya akukho.
No, there isn't anything that he did to her.
Now, according to your version, is that Longwe Twala, out of the blue, stands up, approaches the suspect with a firearm, pushes him away, and then goes out of the house, correct?
Ilokho kushoyo ukuthi nangu umsolo uphethe isibhamu uyasukuma uLongwe uya kuye uyamphusha ubese uyaphuma uLongwe ilokho kushoyo.
Angibonanga ngisho esukuma lokho kusukuma ngathi uzosuka aqalaba bese yabali angibonanga ngisho esukuma ngedlela wasuka nje straight eyomphusha la ngokukhulu ukushesha angibonanga ngisho iqala esukuma ke nje.
Now I didn't even see or witness him at the time that he stood up. What I saw was that he just took off and stomped at him, pushed him away, and then he exited.
I get you that everything was happening super fast.
Ngithola ukuthi lokho kwenzeka ngokusheshsha okukhulu.
They made super fast.
Fast.
Yeah, ngokushesha.
Yes. I got a bit confused when you said super fast. Yes, fast, I agree.
And along the same idea, did you see where and how Longwe Twala pushed the first suspect?
Where in terms of the position?
Where on the body of the
where on
second
the body?
suspect did Longwe push him?
Uke wabona nje uthe makamthinta emphusha wamthinta kuphi emzimbeni?
Ayangakanga kwayilo ukuthi wamthinta kuphi kodwa ngikwazi wamphusha nje waseyaphuma.
I didn't take notice of that as to what particular part of the body did he actually come in contact with. All I know is that he just pushed him and then fled out.
I think lokhu sezosiphendulela yena meza la icourt.
I think it will now be up to him to come and explain to the court.
Yeah, but I'm asking your recollection. You were there observing the incidents as they happened.
Mina ke se ngiyazama ke ngiyayinusela la kuwe mayelana ke nokukhumbula kwakho wena umuntu okwazile ukubona ukuthi kwenzakalani.
Yes, uqinisile ngalapho but ngangengobserve yonke into ongazi ukuthi ngihleli njengoba bese ngichaze kanye ngihlale ngibukele yonke into ongazi ukuthi kumnandi.
Now you are, that is true that there are certain things that I may have observed. But bear in mind, I wasn't just relaxed as though now I'm watching something that was happening in front of my eyes.
Because
one of the things that I was thinking of was I should also exit the house.
And at the time, Longwe, like, let's forget about standing up. You seeing him pushing the first suspect. Was the first suspect still pointing the firearm at the people in the house?
Ngenkathi umbone ephusha lo ke ususpect oqala. Ngabe lo suspect oqala ube vele elogo ekhombe isibhamu kulabantu abebekhona endlini.
Yebo.
Yes.
And what did the second suspect do after being pushed by Longwe?
Wenzani ke emva ukuthi aphusho Longwe. Lo khunja loqala suspect oqala.
Lo wesibini ne? Hayi lo wesibini.
Are we referring to the
Remember,
lo
when
oqala?
Longwe pushes him, what happens to him? Does he stumble? Does he fall? What happens to him?
Uyathola. Shothi ke uyamphusha lo oqala, Long yampusha.
Yes.
Wenzakalani makamphusha wenze njani?
Akawanga.
Uyawa or
Akawanga phansi.
no, he didn't entirely fall. He didn't fall to the floor.
What happened to him?
Wenzakala
according to your
njani?
observation.
Still wayesamile but ukuthi wenza wayesamile kodwa azange awe like phansi.
He didn't fall to the floor. He was still standing. He was still standing.
And as Longwe is now, has pushed this first suspect, where's the second suspect in relation to this incident of Longwe pushing the first suspect?
Ulongwe nangusephushe lona oqala. Ukuphi ke lo wesibini?
I think wangasemnyango.
He was on the door side.
Umnyango lo wasekitchen wangasemnyango lo wasekitchen.
He was along or by the door of the kitchen.
Let's clarify the door, because if we refer to the door, it's been used, different ways here. Are you referring to the brown door, the actual door,
kitchen
where there's a
door, yes.
security gate? Are you referring to
I'm
that?
referring to the kitchen door.
Okay. And as Longwe is now, was he running? Was he walking out of the house?
Ulongwe
Did he leave the house?
ube kitchen ephuma endlini noma ube ehambela nje ephuma endlini.
Hayi wayekitchen.
He was running.
Kitchen.
Did the first or the second suspect try to restrain him from running away?
Ngabe lo oqala noma wesibini bazama ukumnqanda ukuthi angabaleki.
Njengoba ngisho ukuthi ngangikwazi ukumbona lo wesibili if ngingasukumanga ngamalanga asekitchen la from where la ngangikhona ngithi kunobonda awumboni umuntu lapho ubona lo seqhamukile la kwena.
Now, as I've already indicated, that I wouldn't have been able to see the second suspect at the time because there is a wall that is between that kitchen area and as well as where I was. You can only see a person when he appears close to where I was at the time. So the second one, I couldn't see him.
So did the first suspect chase after Longwe?
Lo qala ke wagijimisa uLongwe.
Hayi lo uthakaza mgijimisi.
No, he didn't chase after Longwe.
Now your testimony further is that once Longwe had pushed the first suspect away and ran out of the house, it gave the people in the house an opportunity to stand up from the sofas that they were sitting at, correct?
Yilokho kushilo ukuthi emva kokuthi lona uLongwe aphushe lo msolo wokuqala. Lokho kwanikeza abantu ababesendlini ithuba lokuthi nabo mabasukume baye kuyeke bayobhekana naye ngqo.
Yebo kunjalo.
That is indeed so.
And that is the start of what has been termed by previous witnesses here as a scuffle in the house. Right?
Kwaba uqala ke kwaleyo usho lo uqala ke oke omnye wofakazi oke weza wazala enkantolo khuluma ngendaba ukuthi kwaba nokudonsa donsana ke lapho okanye inqushushu eke yabakhona.
Yeah kunjalo.
That is indeed so.
And this scuffle starts from the sitting room area and ends up deep in the kitchen towards the door. In fact, actually at the door, correct?
Kuqala khona laphayana ke ngase kitchen ukufika ngale emnyango wase kitchen.
Yebo kunjalo.
It is indeed so.
Now, earlier on and even yesterday, you stated that Senzo Meiwa was now pinning the second suspect against the wall, holding the second suspect's arm with his two hands, that is Senzo's two hands, correct?
Ilokho kushilo ukuthi naku ke usebamba lona owesibini uyambamba ke wase umbeka nje khona laphana emphushela embambela edongweni esebenzisa izandla zakhe ezithu ebambe nje ingalo yakhe yodwa.
Yebo kunjalo.
It is indeed so, yes.
And your testimony is that your crutches were used, but in particular, you vividly remember Zandi Kumalo hitting, was it the second suspect with a crutch? Was that your evidence?
Uyakhumbula ngendlela egqamile mayelana ke nama crutches wakho uthi lona uZandi Khumalo washaya muphi ke umsolo owokuqala noma owesibini ngecrutch?
Mina ngikhumbulelwa nalokuqala lokuyena wayenza ama-threat.
I remember her fighting with the first one, the one that had dreadlocks.
Yeah, yes, I understand that. But the one that she actually hit with a crutch, which one was that between the first and the second suspect?
Lo amshaya ngale crutch omuphi owokuqala noma owesibini ngikhumbula.
Ngiyasho ukuthi ubekalwa nalo bebeshaya lo wama-threat lokuqala.
I am saying that he was she was fighting, or they were fighting with the first one that was having dreadlocks.
Now, on that aspect, Zandi Kumalo testified in court as follows, that she then went and fetched a crutch from next to the heater where the crutches were.
Ukushilo kanjalo uZandi ukuthi wahamba wathatha icrutch eyayiseduze neheater laphayana, uyavuma?
And
Ya ama-crutches ayetayila ekubondeni nje liseduze ne-heater.
Yes, I agree. I concur with that. The crutches were just leaning against the wall, close to where the heater was.
and that she came into the kitchen to join the fight in order to hit the second suspect with that crutch.
Waya ke ngasekitchen yoba ingxenye yale impi yayenzeka khona lapha ekitchen uthi ashaye lo msola lona ke ngecrush.
Istatement sakhe leso but mina njengoba ngisho basukuma kuqala kunami njengoba babasukuma uyena uma wakhe uyena uma wakhe no kid basukuma kuqala kunami.
That would be her version.
And her version,
Like I have already said, that they were the very first people to stand up and they accosted this person. It was herself, that is Zandi Kumalo, Kelly Kumalo, and Mrs. Kumalo Senior, or their mother.
and further she testified that because of her stature being short and tiny, and there were people in front of her, she couldn't actually hit the second suspect. That's when you took the crutch from her and hit the suspect, the second suspect on the head with that crutch.
Thina ngenxa ukuthi ke beke mfishane umzimba omncanyana nje nayo wayengakhoni ke ukushaya lo msolo lo wena ke wasuthatha icrush kuyena washaya umsolo lo wesibili.
Ngiyakuzwa but angikhumbuli ngisebenzisa i-crush mina. According to statement sakhe asibhalile angeke mina ngisishintshe esakhe but angizikhumbuli nje ngithatha i-crush mina.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Well, I do not remember taking a crush and hitting this person with it.
Ngamshaya ngenqindi mina lo.
I hit him with a punch. Or a clenched fist. I do not remember taking that would actually be her evidence. But I cannot change her evidence. I cannot change her statement.
Your evidence is that you then hit the second suspect with a fist, correct?
Wamshaya ngenqindi lo wesibini. That's correct.
When did that happen in the context of the scuffle that was happening in the kitchen?
Lokho kwenzeka nini? Maqondana ke nalokho okwakwenzeka khona lapha ekitchen.
Ngalesikhathi usenza mbambele ingalo yangala.
At that time that Senzo had pinned him against the wall.
Ngalesikhathi ngithi ngiyaphumile angabona khona usenze mbambele lesilo engashaya khona ngasaphuma ngomnyango.
Now it was at the time that I had purposed to exit the house, and when I saw Senzo pinning him like that against the wall, that's when I decided, no, I'm no longer exiting the house. I then unleashed a punch against him.
Now, did the first and the second suspects fight back or retaliate as they were being assaulted by the people from the house?
bayiphindisela yini ngoba beshawa abantu abangaphakathi sengisho bona ke ummangalelo wokuqala okanye umsolo wokuqala nomsolo wesibili bayiphindisela yini.
I think ukuphuma kwesibhamu ikhona ababezama ukuthi basithuse ngako or benze lento abayini because sathi masiqhuma isibhamu ngabaleka mina ngawungena ekamereni.
I think the gunshot that was discharged could have been their attempt to disperse us or to ward us off, because after that, that's when I ran to go and hide myself, to hide myself in the bedroom.
Now, Mthokozisi Twala testified in this court that he was not part of the scuffle because he was protecting Christian from being harmed. So he watched the scuffle from his vantage point at the entrance passageway of the kitchen inside. What role did he play, if at all, Mthokozisi Twala in the scuffle?
Umthokozisi ke uthi yena ichaza libamba lapha yana ukuthi makavikele uChristian. Kanti ke beke ngekho kangako lapha yana ku lokhu donsisana lapho okane ukulisana okwakhona lapha yana. Uthini ke wena ngendlela owabona ngakhona ube kuphi ke umthokozisi mayelana ke nalokho kwakwenzeka khona lapha kuleyo passage kuya ngasekitchen.
Umthokozisi uqinisile umthokozisi asimuntu othanda ukulala angesozoza kuthiwa ulile onjani. So
he's telling the truth. He's not the kind of a person that likes getting involved in fights.
Ubengekho la kwenzeka yonke lento so nje bengemuva angazi ukuthi wayenzani nje wethu ayeza umprotect uChristian because Christian naye wayeleke yaluza la.
He was not the part of that commotion that was happening there. He was just behind. I think he was indeed trying to protect Christian. I don't know what Christian was doing there, but he was trying to protect him.
And what role did Kelly Khumalo play in the scuffle?
Khona lapho kuleso scuffle uKelly yena ke ubambela uphiqhaza lapho.
Angeke ngasho lo ngicambu uzoyizela naye lo azoyichazela la ecourt lo angeke ngasho wabamba yiphi part.
I don't know what part did he take or how did she participate in that scuffle. She will come and present her own evidence before this honorable court.
And your testimony is that after the first gunshot, you ran to a second bedroom, that is the one next to the one where Kelly ran, and then you closed the door behind you, correct?
Usho kanjalo emva ukuthi isibhamu siqhume kanye okokuqala wasuyagijima ke wena wangena kulela gumbi lesibili lokulala wafika wayivalela ngakhona ilokho kushilo.
Yebo.
Yes, that is what I said.
And if I understood your testimony correctly yesterday, is that it is the very same room where Kelly's daughter Tingo was also sleeping at the time, correct?
Uma ngabe ngizwe kahle izolo umuntu uthula ubufakazi bakho yilelo gumbi ke la kwakulele khona ke indodakazi kaKelly uTingo.
100% correct.
100% correct.
And furthermore, that when you entered that room, you found that she was awake, probably woken up by the commotion and the noise in the house, correct?
Uthi ke wena musufika ngalapha kulelo gumbi wase umthola sekevukile wacama ukuthi ingenxa yalokho kwakwenzeka la endlini umsindo yabona.
Yebo kunjalo.
It is indeed so, yes.
And that when you ran to that room, you also took your phone with because you wanted to hide, or you hid your phone beneath the blankets that were in that room, correct?
No, ukuthi ke ungena kulelo gumbi uphethe cellphone yakho wayifihla ke ngaphansi kwalezo ingubo ezazistekiwe njengala.
Kunjalo.
It is indeed so.
Now, why didn't you call for help from your cell phone, because you were now behind a locked room in the house at that stage? Why didn't you call for help, because a gunshot has just been fired in the house?
Ingani ke ungazange wazama ukuthola usizo wena uphethe cellphone kanti ke ungakulela gumbi uzivalele ngakhona sekube nekuxhuma kwesibhamu khona la endlini ingani ungazange wazama ukuthola usizo?
Angazi methi ngazama ukuthola isizo kwakuyi first time ngiyakulowa muzi and angazi umuntu lapha abantu engibazi babe la endlini ngizolicela kubani usizo ngicela ngicacisele lapho futhi ngizolicela kubani usizo.
I don't know how was I going to be in the position to seek for help. That was my first time going to that house.
Colleague,
I don't know any person in that vicinity. The only people that I knew were inside of the same house in which I was. Perhaps you can try and clarify that for me.
calling for help by dialing toll-free 10-111.
Mhlambe ke ukufona lapho 10-111.
Angazi ngayidala leyo number mina empilweni yami nje. Angazi ngayidala nokuthi ke if ukulesa simo yabona uma kwaba senkingeni awufani umuntu ongakazi abenkingeni umuntu ongazi abenkingeni kulolu khuluma ukuthi awenza ngangani kanje awenza so kulesa sikhathi ngangikwe ngaphansi kwesinye isimo hayi lesi esinjengalesi.
Now I've never used that number before, and the circumstance that I found myself under, it was an unusual circumstance, and as a result, I couldn't even think of doing whatever that is expected of me. You know, a person who has never been in a predicament, it would be easy for them to say that, why couldn't you do that, than a person who is in a predicament. So in other words, a person that is in a predicament experiences the challenge differently than that one that was never in a predicament.
Now, having listened attentively to your testimony and about the robbery incident, the ineptitude and the lack of preparation by the alleged suspects, I'm led to believe that we are dealing with one of Mzansi's dumbest criminals. Would you agree?
Uyabona ke uma sesibheke ngendlela abebengayilungiselela ngakhona indlela abayephethe ngakhona sengikhuluma ngabo labo bantu abangena lapha endlini ushuthi ke mase sibuka leso sithombe isiyabona nathi la eMzansi asibhekene negebengu ezidomo kabi.
Mawusigebengu ngifayile uziyofunda ugebengu ngabe isigebengu ufundile mawusigebengu ungafundanga so ucabanga ugebengu kufana.
You don't have to go to school to be a criminal. You can be a criminal that hasn't gone to school. You can also be a criminal that is well versed.
You see, the reason I'm asking you is for the following propositions. According to your testimony, this is an armed robbery for money and phones. Yet people in the house, one, Zandile Khumalo testified that the minute that demand was made, she hid the phone beneath the cushion where she was sitting.
Yabona enye iyezathu enza ukuthi mhlambe ukuthi ngikhulume ngale ndlela ukuthi uZandile ukhulumile lokho uthi makezwa nje ukuthi manje kufuneka ama cellphone wase ufihla i-cellphone ngaphansi kwekhishini la ebehleli khona. Kungukuthi bakhona labantu la endlini.
Yeah, but angeke ngakhuluma kakhulu ngoZandile Mr. Ramsbell because statement sakhe leso ufishi nami endlini angeke ngibuke wonke umuntu uthi wenzani umuntu seseyinakela ngaleso sikhathi.
Now I cannot speak on behalf of Zandile. That's her statement, Advocate Ramsbell. And mind you, I also am inside of the house. I cannot be monitoring every move that is done by every person who's inside of the house.
And two, Makumalo's phone is charging right at the kitchen on top of a stove somewhere.
Always be. Na iPhone kaMakumalo. Phezu kwestove eduze nestove laphayana. Iyachargewa khona lapho.
But the intruders don't take it.
Kodwa labangeneleli abayithathi leyo cellphone.
Angeke ngachaza ke lo ngifuna ukuchaza ukungena kuloko ngoba akubhalwanga yimina so bengingajabula umbuzo yakho mayingaqonda exactly entweni ibhalwe yimi so le bhalwe umunye umuntu uzozizela ine court ayichazeleni ukuthi usho ukuthi babe ngenza kanjani into kanje yabo.
Well, I cannot be explicit on that one. This is something that was not narrated by myself. It is not something that was not written by me. I would really appreciate if the questions were really have to do with myself, what I observed or witnessed. I can't say anything pertaining to what I said. For your information, my phone was in my possession.
And three, Longwe Twala, who possibly has got a phone or cash on him, is also allowed to leave the house without being searched for sale.
Okunye futhi nangu lona. Unemali kuyena kuyakhonakala. Futhi une cellphone bayamvumela nje ukuthi aphume.
Ubani othwele imali lo?
Who says that Longe was in possession of the cash?
And 4, the intruders do not even search the people in the house for money and cell phones.
Okwesine, labantu abangena endlini ababaseshi labantu abasendlini. Babaseshe ukuthi bafuna ama cellphone nemali kubo ababaseshi inhlobo.
I think mawuzo sesha umuntu kufanele ube nendlela ozomlalisa ngayo or umise ngendlela ozomisa ngayo. So sasingeke ukuphusha ukuthi asibanjise udongora sasilaliswe phansi. So babezosesha kanjani?
How were they going to search us? I think that if you have to search a person, you must position them in a conducive, position that would allow you to be able to search them. Perhaps you can even tell them, lie down or stand against the wall. So all of us were not instructed to do that.
And lastly, the intruders, one of them armed with a firearm, are assaulted by people in the house who are barely armed, crutches and spoons and fists, but they do nothing to retaliate and
Nakho kunye okugcina.
Is that correct? They do nothing. The evidence I'm listening to is that a firearm went off and Sinzo apparently got injured and subsequently died.
Okay, let's leave that one. Let me throw that one. Now you've testified and I've listened to you, said you were scared when the intruders entered and the suspect pointed or wielded or brandished the firearm in the house, correct?
Ukushilo lokho ke uthi lona intruder mangena endlini ubuthukile ngoba phela ungene wakhipha isibhamu. Kunjalo?
Yebo kunjalo.
It is so.
Now, by your estimation, and give me the best, your educated guess, from the moment the suspects arrived, the scuffling, the shooting, and the suspects leaving, the entire incident, how long did it last?
Leso
According
sigameko
to your
sonke.
estimation.
Uma ngabe mhlambe wena ke ungaba nalolu lwazi mhlambe ngendlela ongakhona ke ukusho. Ukusuka lesikhathi bengena kuba nokulwisana, kuqhuma isibhamu, begcina sebephumile ke endlini. Lokho kwathatha isikhathi esingakanani?
Akubanga isikhathi eside.
It wasn't a
Akubanga
long
isikhathi
time.
eside.
It wasn't a long time.
Noma ngisho nje ukuthi akubanga more than 10 minutes ngisho kanjalo.
I would estimate that it was not more than 10 minutes.
Now, and I'm not saying that you are wrong, but by his estimation, Thokozi Sitwala
Yes.
estimated that the entire incident lasted about 5 minutes. Would that be the same region?
Manje usho njalo ke uMthokozisi uthi lesi sigameko sonke sathatha imizuzu engaba 05.
Angeke ngakuphikisa ukusho umthozi sithwala ngeke futhi ngiphawule kakhulu ngakho njengoba nami ngisho ukuthi akubanga more than 10 minutes so angikho kuyona exact leyo isikhathi ngicabangela sona nami.
Now, as I've already indicated that the 10 minutes that I am referring to could just be an estimated time. What Mthokozisi is saying, I cannot dispute it. It may as well have been 5 minutes, and I don't want to remark on what he had said. My estimation could be about 10 minutes, or perhaps even just around there. Even that 10 minutes, I'm uncertain of it.
Now, yesterday when you testified, you stated that you and the second suspect, whom you now identify as accused number 2, were very close to each other during the transpiration of the events of the night of the 26th of October 2014, correct?
Izolo kushilo lokho ukuthi nayithola nje nibhekene nje niseduze omunye komunye ngalo suku lange 26 October 2014 ukusho kanjalo izolo ngisho. Yes, that's what I said.
And he was wearing a hoodie all along through this incident transpiring, correct?
Futhi-ke makwenzeka lesigameko ubele wefake leyo hoodie.
ya wayifakile ihood kodwa ngendlela ekwakubanjwana ngayo yayisigumile nayo ihood
Now,
isigqoko sayo.
yeah, he was having a hoodie on his head, but given the fact of that commotion and how the scuffling was taking place, it had already had uncovered the head.
That's a new fact that you are adding here. You've never said that in your evidence in chief.
Ubufakazi obusha-ke lobu. Ukuthi-ke yasesusukile ekhanda. Ubufakazi obusha.
Shuthi awukhumbuli kahle Mr. Ramaphosa ngangayisho nalento phambilini I think ngangibuza u-advocate Mshololo ngayingayisho lento shuthi wena ungakhumbuli kahle.
It means you are the one that is not recalling, because there was a stage where Advocate Mshololo asked me that same question. Yes.
Let's be clear. If you look here, this is not Judge Maumela. These are new proceedings. All of those proceedings legally are nullified. So whatever you said there doesn't apply here.
Yeah,
I was not even there back then. There were other advocates that were here.
Ake sibheke kahle. Yabona ngoba sila kule nkantolo akusena uJudge Maumela lo ohleli lapha yana. Yabona? Inqubo eyenzeka phambilini ke akusaseyiyo ke. Futhi ke la inqubo iqelele phansi. Leyo qala ifana nje ngenqubo engekho. Yabona ke?
Mr. Ramaphosa ngimdala mangaka ngiyayibona yonke into la ikhona there's no need ukuthi umchazele.
No,
ngizama ukuklarify la ukuthi uthi angikaze ukusha ngayingakusho before ukusha mina mengayingakusho before ngangithola yini.
Look, I'm adult enough. I can observe, I can see what is happening in this court. I know what is it that I had said previously, and that is what I had said previously.
I understand that you are old, but also this is part of, you are not a legal person. I was explaining to you, I'm not undermining you. I told you I don't do that.
Futhi ke ngiyazwisisa ukuthi awusiyena umuntu owazi ke indlela umthetho usebenza ngakhona. Bengizama ukucacisela nje ukuthi umthetho mayelana nalenqubo usebenze kanjani.
Ngiyakuzwa lapho nane case ngiyazi ukuthi ishintshiwe ujaji and ujaji wathi liqala phansi ngisasebenza into endala. Ngisho ngakusho before because uthi angikaze ngikusho ukuthi kunyu futhi into engekho kumina ngingazi.
Yeah, no, it was explained to me that the previous proceedings were nullified, and I am just merely answering you based on the fact that you have said that it is new, and based on that I'm now saying that it is not new, because this particular point, it's what I had said previously. I made mention of that previously.
Now, did you have an opportunity to look into the face of the second suspect there at the scene?
Uye wathola ithuba lokuthi ubone ubuso balo msolwa wesibili khona lapha yana endaweni esigameni waba nalelo thuba lokubona ubuso umsolwa wesibili.
Lo mbuzo angazi ukuthi ngizophendula ngokuthini ngeke ngikwazi ukukhomba umuntu ngithi nangu ngiphinde ukuthi angimbona ngimkhomba kanjani ngambona.
I don't know how to actually answer that particular question. I cannot just at random point at a person and say this is the one when I didn't see that particular person at the scene of the incident. How can I do that?
You can do that because the only thing that you saw on his face was his mouth and beard.
Ungakwenza lokho ngoba yini nje into oye wayibona lapha ebusweni bakhe umlomo namadevu wakhe okanye mustache yakhe.
Mawucontrola wena ngicela ukubuza wena mawucontrola wena ushaya umuntu angithi uyazi ukuthi umshala or umshaya la so uzomshaya kanjani ebusweni ngambukanga.
Now if you have to be in control of what you are doing yourself, and now you have to launch a punch against a person or hit a person at a particular point in their body, how can you hit a person on the face when you are not looking at them as or aiming at their face to unleash a blow against their face? It could be on the face, it could perhaps be on the abdomen, but how could you just unleash without looking at a particular person?
My Lord, I see it's approaching 11:20. Okay.
Mr. Justice Roderick.